All right, YouTube, welcome back to tonight's chart review. If you guys don't know, I have a Discord server where I go live and I do all these live. I have a free Discord. It's in the description, completely free. And literally, I try to drop gems in there. We're building, we're grinding. So if you want to join my free Discord, it's in my bio or in the description. It's completely free. But we're going to go over today's action and kind of what we're looking at today. And what I was looking at today I took one loss, and I think it was just because of the execution. I kind of went over that during my trading transformation, but this is kind of the time where we look at the charts, look at the possible opportunity that was there, and look at the possible opportunity that I missed, that you missed, and that we all missed, and see what we could have done better, how we could have positioned ourselves in the future to fix our mistakes that we make today, because that's the important part. If you just go throughout your trading career and you just don't ever look at the charts, see what happened in the charts, what you could have done better, what you could have improved on, then you're really never going to improve. You got to take some time to reflect, some time to go back, and some time to get better. Like, this is when you really get better. When you look back on the chart and you say, hey, I saw this, and my head was at here during live, but this is what actually happened. We have the benefit of going back into hindsight and seeing what happened in hindsight during these chart reviews, which is why I really like them. We go back, we see what happened, and we see what actually end up panning out, and see how we could have positioned ourselves better going forward in the future. It's always about getting better. Like, today does not mean anything. Regardless if you took a win or a loss today, today does not really mean anything. Today is just a blimp in your career. I took a loss today. It does not mean anything. It's a blimp in my career. It shouldn't even matter. If you position yourself accordingly, if you're not over risking, if you're not over leveraging, if you're not doing stupid mistakes, today should not mean anything regardless of win or loss. Here is when we build our conviction. Here is when we kind of see what we did right, what we did wrong today. And I want to go over exactly that. So if we look on the higher time frames, kind of going into today, I'm going to go ahead and just replay this. I think it's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and replay this. We'll hop at 9. So around 9 o'clock, we end up having to sell off. In the overnight session, we pumped. And then so last night we pumped. This morning we dumped. So we're coming back in. We had this big gap we kind of had. And I didn't really expect much of this gap. I was just kind of looking at it. Like, this gap, I don't know much about new week opening gap or new day opening gap. But this gap can act like a magnet. And I just wasn't too caught up. I wasn't too interested in this. I was more focused on what was price doing right now. If we look at what price is doing right now, what are we kind of doing on this way lower? We're generating liquidity, but notice what we are doing here. We are also respecting bearish order flow. We have an imbalance. We respect it. We have an imbalance. We respect it. And now the draw becomes here. And if you look on ES at the time, ES has come up in all-time highs, and we now have an SMT at the highs. And the reason why I wasn't really focusing on the SMT at the highs is because I thought that NQ was clearly in the market maker buy model. If we look at this, this is sell side of the curve right here, and then this is buy side of the curve. Price comes down, we come down in this imbalance. This is sell side of the curve to then have buy side of the curve. And this looks clear in my opinion, and this is what I think that we're doing. I think that we're still within buy side of this delivery, and I still think that buy side will probably get met. But we did have an SMT at the highs going into today. So I didn't really regard that too much, and that's what kind of could have got me chopped up. Notice how pretty much any time that we've had an SMT at the highs within the past, like, I don't know, maybe 3 months, we haven't really respected it. And now we had an SMT and then we dumped. So this could be something, but I still don't think so. We got to realize what type of market we are in and what we have been doing. So if we go around here, 8:30, we're now generating liquidity, and we're just gonna. I just want to play this action. Okay, I gotta slow it down. Let's do like 3x. So if we look at this action, we come down. We are generating liquidity. We're now within this gap. I'm like, hey, we could bounce here. This is kind of what I'm looking at. I kind of did fail to see that ES was clearly in this market maker sell model. And although, yeah, it could be clear going back in hindsight, we had this huge imbalance that I wanted to hold. Wait, hold up. That was before. Where do we open on ES? Yeah, we opened around here. We also were within this gap as well on ES. So this actually ended up being a pretty nice setup, but I was a little bit caught off guard. Like, I didn't really see too much opportunity within today for this reason. So we have generated buy side here. I want to be bullish. I want us to bounce. I want to see displacement higher to validate that we want to go higher. And here's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting. We end up forming an SMT here. Then boom, we pump here. There is not enough structure, and there's not really enough for me to validate going long here. I don't think that there's a reason to go long here, but we do have an SMT. Notice how we have the SMT right at market open. I don't think it's the best to enter a trade here at market open, just because market open can do whatever it wants, really. Market open can do whatever it wants. It's kind of a dangerous game. I think that we can come back and easily take this low and then pump. Hey Segmu, yeah, y'all can ask to speak, but I'm just gonna go over what I see, and then after I go over what I see, I want you guys to also see what you guys saw as well. Also, any trades that you guys want to go over, any trades that you guys took, feel free. But I'll go over my analysis, and then you guys can. I encourage you guys to give your analysis as well. I really want to hear it. But anyways, I don't like a long here just because there really isn't a motive for price to move. Yes, we have this SMT, but especially at market open, like an SMT isn't like the end all be all. We're gonna pump, and that's what happens. We kind of just pump. I don't see any opportunity to take a long. Yes, you might have been able to like, hey, we had SMT. I'm slapping longs here. If you caught that move, good for you. Maybe take to this high. I just want to see more at market open to validate, because at market open we don't always just pump, but the times we do, there's probably some motive. We have an SMT, we're within the gap. There really isn't much here, so I don't really like longs here. I don't really like longs at open. And if we look at what we're doing here, we pump and then we put in a high, and then I think at the time as well we have an SMT at the highs. Let's see, where is this high on ES? Yeah, so ES is nowhere near this high that we just took on NQ. So now we have another SMT. We have another SMT at the highs. And this is what I failed to realize. I was too overly bullish biased. I should have been noticing this. I think I kind of did notice it at the time, but I wanted to be super bullish. And it ended up getting me caught up. So we have an SMT at the highs. Notice we're generating buy-side liquidity. We're generating buy-side liquidity. We're generating buy-side liquidity. Then what am I looking for right now? I'm still long bias at this point. We now have this big displacement move higher to maybe validate that we want to go to this high. But what am I possibly looking for? I'm looking for us to maybe rebalance to equilibrium, rebalance to OTE, and rebalance to this big imbalance. Like we just have this 5-minute imbalance. So I'm looking for a possible bounce here. We have big displacement. So this is then what I'm still looking for longs. Look at what happens here. We run this inverse. And what I didn't like about this trade, I didn't take this trade, but I kind of was looking at this when we were in the live trading session. I'm like, I don't think that we're going to run to this high. Notice how we do have generated liquidity, but I don't think that we don't have a reason to run this high. Yes, we ran an inverse, but we don't have a reason to run to this high. We've now rebalanced. We still haven't rebalanced like directly to equilibrium. We almost have. We've rebalanced to this imbalance, but I'm not positive that we're going to run to this high. So I wanted to see more. I was being patient. We put in another high, generate more liquidity. Then we have the sharp sell-off. I want to look at ES at the time. I wasn't paying too much attention to ES. So at the time on ES, we have that SMT at the high. Then look at ES's draw. ES, the draw is this low. ES, the draw is this low right here. And this would have been a nice entry on ES. This would have been a nice entry on ES. I don't love it because the fact that we are in such of a discount of this range, for me to take a short here, I would like to see a turtle soup. I would like to see some form of liquidity taken. So what I mean by that is if we are in premium or discount, sorry. If we are in discount of this leg, for me to take a trade, I would like to see a soup. I would like to see us taking internal liquidity to target this draw. We kind of don't do that. We rebalance. Where are we going here? Notice to the tick. We come back into OTE, come back into this balance. This would have been a fantastic short. This would have been a good short. Notice order flow. Order flow is bearish. We are very bearish here. We don't have a reason to on ES or on NQ. The draw, like there's no need for us to go higher here. So therefore we will go lower. There's no reason for price to go higher here, so therefore we will go lower. That's kind of what I failed to realize. I also was pretty bullish bias today, and I noticed that ES, the draw was likely lower, so I wasn't going to touch anything. The reason why I also don't love a short here is because of NQ, but it's kind of like when we have two differing draws, and when the draw on ES is lower, on the draw on NQ is higher, like you don't have to touch it. Like this is when we just sit back and say, hey, a trade played out here, cool. When ES and NQ align, that's when we're going to get the best trades. So why would we try to trade when they are not aligning? When they're not aligned, we'll likely get faked out. There maybe could be a possible trade that we see that we don't take. But I don't think that this was a bad thing for me to kind of sit on the sidelines here. I don't see a clear draw. I want NQ to be bullish. ES is bearish. We have S&T at the highs. Nothing looks super clear. And that's okay. It's not always going to be super clear. It's not always going to be. So that was kind of what I was looking at. I wanted to see maybe possibly this be the draw. I wanted to see us complete this market maker buy model today, but that was not the case. ES we wanted to sell off. This was a solid entry that I liked. This was probably the best opportunity that we had today, I'm not gonna lie. We had SMT at highs, we have clear displacement, we have market structure shift, clearly bearish momentum, clear displacement. We pull back, then we displace more, take the imbalance to target the draw. All right, so now is when I'm being patient as well. I'm waiting. We're gonna see. This is a place where we could possibly bounce as well. But where's ES at the time? Where's ES? Sorry, let me see. Okay. So ES is about to take the draw. I don't really see any opportunity here. I still don't like anything. We're back within OT of the range. I'm waiting for displacement to validate that we want to go higher. We never displace higher, so therefore we never do go higher. This could be a market maker buy model. This could be us bouncing off of OTE, but I'm not gonna place anything on it. I'm not gonna place a trade. Like there's nothing here, nothing looks clear. Still, I'm waiting possibly for us to bounce. At the time, I think we did have an SMT at the lows, or we were having an SMT at some point at these lows. But I only want to start marking SMTs until we get that displacement. Does that make sense? Until we get that displacement off the SMT doesn't mean anything. Like just because we could possibly have the SMT does not mean that we are going to have an SMT. The times in which we have an SMT are the times when we will react. So once we get that reaction, I don't think there's any need for me to mark out that we have an SMT. Okay, so now let's kind of look at this the action. I'm waiting, we're waiting. Now the draw on NQ, in my opinion, becomes these lows. There could have been a possible entry here. This could have been a soup. Notice what I was saying earlier as well. The only times I think that it is best to take a entry to target the lows in a discount is when we have a soup. So notice how we have a soup. You could have entered here. Could have. This could have been an okay trade. Stop here. Target here. Once we get that displacement, enter. Have your stop at the high. Or maybe give it some room. And then play this to the low. I think that this could have been a good trade. Or a decent trade. But for me, it's a little bit too scalpy. But I think that this could have been a good trade. We end up taking the draw. So now, we have now taken the morning objective. The morning objective. we now just had a move. Let me measure this out. We now had a 180 point move. 180 point move. We have now taken a sell side level on the higher time frame. On the higher time frame. So us generated all of this is now just for us to take this low. So therefore, we need to wait to take a trade. And if you are going to take a trade once this gets taken, we have to take a trade based off of internal structure. So maybe looking at the 1 minute, taking a trade off the 1 minute could be acceptable here. Okay, and this is when we're waiting. We're waiting. Waiting. We put in a high here. We put in a high. Generated liquidity. There's nothing here yet. We're waiting. We're waiting. We put in another high. And then this is then when we take internal liquidity again. Still waiting. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. And now we start to get displacement higher. This is then when I can validate that we might want to go here. Notice all the liquidity that we have been generating. I now want the draw to be this high. I now want the draw to be this high. And once we get this displacement higher, this validates it. So now long bias, I'm looking for a trade to hunt liquidity up here. And notice we just had this big move. Anytime recently, I've noticed that we've had a big move and we have taken a morning objective, we have rebalanced to equilibrium of that range at some point. So we just had this big AM move. So I could possibly say that we want to rebalance to equilibrium. And notice how we also have this 15-minute imbalance within equilibrium. I think that's higher quality. When we have an imbalance in equilibrium, we also have a high in equilibrium. So I am now looking for this high to be the draw. I now think that this will probably be the draw because remember, why did markets move? To hunt liquidity, to rebalance to an imbalance, and we rebalance to equilibrium. We had a huge sell-off. I am looking for us to rebalance into equilibrium, hunt this high as well, and to rebalance into this 15-minute imbalance. Everything lines up here. I'm looking for longs. I'm now long bias. I'm looking for a possible long. This big move to the upside isn't. There's no entry provided here. There's nothing here. There's still nothing. We put in a low, and I want this to be the soup. I want us to come up, and I want us to come down, take this, to then target this high, and then possibly this high. I want this to be the soup. At this point in time, I want this to be the soup. We now have generated buy side. We now have a draw here. We're showing bullish order flow. I want us to come down and soup this low. Notice how you also could look to take an imbalance. You could look to take an imbalance. But for me to take an imbalance, I'm not going to take an imbalance in premium. The only way I can take a trade in premium or discount is if we're taking internal liquidity, if we have the turtle soup. So here is then when I can maybe say, I want us to take this low and then bounce this high. So this would be the possible soup. This would be the possible soup. This is what I'm looking for. Notice how we don't get a pullback to any imbalance here. We don't. We just run here. That is okay. Price is going to run at times. There are going to be times when we just straight run. There's not any opportunity within that. Yes, you could take a trade off of some inverse, but in order for you to have repeatable results, you want to wait for an imbalance, or you want to wait for something to hold here. We have big displacement higher. I'm still waiting. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Notice we put in equal lows. We put in equal lows right here. I want this to also be a possible soup before taking this high. Before taking this high. Once this high gets taken, it's a little bit less quality. Okay? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I want to see us. I really want to see us come and soup these lows. Notice as well how this is also a 5-minute imbalance. Once we have a low nestled in an imbalance, it is automatically higher. Higher quality, higher probability. So I'm waiting for that, and I'm looking for us to come back down, take this low, to then run to this high. Waiting, waiting, waiting. And this is then when we take internal liquidity. And I actually ended up taking a short on the demo account, which here is my reasoning behind this. We have a big move to the upside. And as you can see, we don't have any sort of pullback here. We don't have any sort of pullback. We just took internal liquidity. Once we get displacement, I just enter short. I entered short here on the demo. I think I actually entered around here. I said in the chat that I don't mind a short here, just to target these equal lows. Because I think that we're going to take these lows and then bounce. but that wasn't the case. So I do like a short here. Notice that we just end up. This isn't the highest quality opportunity, but we are here to hunt these lows, also hunt this imbalance, and also to rebalance an equilibrium of this price leg. This would have been a okay trade, in my opinion. I took it on the demo. I didn't have too much conviction with it. I just took it on the demo. So we come up, take internal liquidity, then we come back, sell these lows. This is then, I took a trade on the live account. I want this to still be the soup to target this high to rebalance the equilibrium. So you can see we come down, take this low, and we hesitate to go higher. If this was the soup, we would have caused a reaction off of it. We would have caused a reaction. And here's when I went wrong today. I already went over this, but I took a trade here. I went long. I was targeting this high. I really wanted this to be the draw. I really wanted us to come back to equilibrium. I really wanted us to hunt this imbalance. But I need to see displacement to validate the soup. We need to see displacement to validate the soup. If you have confidence that that is a soup, then you can take it. But in order for me, especially to where I'm at in my journey, to where I'm at as a trader, I need to wait to see displacement higher to validate this is a soup. I can take a soup entry if we rally up to here, because I know that this probably is a soup once we get that displacement. But we never get them push up. We never do. So that just invalidates. And notice the ES at the time. If we look, ES, the soup looked a lot clearer, but ES doesn't have reasons to go higher. Why would ES even need to go higher? ES does not look like we need to go higher. There's no reason to really be long bias here. There really isn't high quality opportunity here. There really isn't, in my opinion. I don't really see much here. ES is kind of put in a high. Like there's nothing on ES that I can see that we really want to target. Notice ES as well. ES just doesn't really need to move, and we just weren't that correlated. So therefore, your entry isn't going to be as good. Okay, we actually end up selling off. I am looking for this to possibly become the draw now. I really don't know. I don't know. The market hasn't shown us anything. I want this to be the draw. I want this low to be the draw. So we come back down, and then we immediately push back up. We pump. We're not pump. We slowly have a move higher. Notice what we were doing. We were generating liquidity. Here is also then when I was possibly looking to take a short. We have this 15-minute imbalance right here. Let me delete some of this. We have this 15-minute imbalance. I want to see us reject off of this, sell to this low. We also, at the time, we had an SMT at the highs. We had an SMT. It was either somewhere right here or somewhere right here. We had SMT out. SMT. I wanted to see displacement back inside of this range through a low. That's when we're going to get opportunity. Through a low. Notice how we don't get displacement through a low here. We kind of just get displacement. We take the low and then we pump. This is a liquidity sweep on the lower time frame. This is not displacement through a low. In order to validate that we want to sell to this low, I want to see displacement through a low, then get some form of pullback, then I can take a short. But we never get displacement through a low. We kind of take a low, then we bounce. So there is nothing here yet. There is nothing here. I want the draw to be this low now. We're still within this range. Market is going to do whatever it wants within this range. There's no reason to take a long or short within this range. Nothing. What does the market need to move? Liquidity. We need liquidity to move. There's no form of buy side or sell side taken here. No. And notice what we do in here. There's literally nothing. We just chop. We slowly move to the upside. Notice the inefficiency in price. What is price doing here? We are not efficient at all. Why are we not efficient at all within this range? It's just a slow grind up. We are not taking any form of liquidity. There's no form of liquidity being taken. There's no volume here. There's no reason for the market to move here. We are simply just within this range. Once we have a valid move and maybe manipulate at a high or manipulate at a low and take liquidity, that's then when we can get a move. So say we get a move to the downside. Say we then get to the move downside. Okay, liquidity. We have taken liquidity, and then we get displacement higher. Then we can get a high quality opportunity. But here, taking a short here, taking a long here is just very low probability. There's no reason for the market to move here. There's no reason for us to move at all. There's no reason. And notice what we are doing here. We are slow grinding. We are slow chopping. There's nothing here at all. There's no opportunity. And closer to the end of the day, here's then when I can maybe see an opportunity at around this time. Okay, we are still within this range. Notice ES as well. I want to see us. Notice all this low resistance liquidity that we are forming. How do we know it's low resistance? If we can do a trend line, it looks like this. Notice how we have a low. We have a low bounce. We have a low bounce. We have a low bounce. I am looking for a possible short to target this low resistance liquidity. But what do I need to see first to validate that? Some sort of liquidity being taken. Some sort of displacement through a low, and then possible manipulation. We come up here, and now we form an SMT. Notice how NQ still has not taken this high. Where's the high on? Yeah, the high is right here on NQ. We aren't near taking the high. We now have an SMT. Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward. I am waiting. I am patient here. Patience, patience. Okay, we now have an SMT here. We now have an SMT at the highs. What am I waiting for to validate this, though? What am I waiting for? What do we need to see to get high quality opportunity? Displacement through a low to validate that we want to go here. We don't need to go here. The market has to show us that we need to go here. We're not just gonna have predictions telling us that we're gonna go to this low. We need to see the market tell us that we actually want to go to this low. Notice on NQ, this still can be the draw. Notice how we still have not come back into equilibrium of this range. We still have not rebalanced to this 15-minute imbalance. We still have a reason to go higher. So therefore, why would price need to go lower here? There's no reason. Okay, we're like nothing here, nothing here. I'm also looking. I'm still on live at this point. Today I went live for pretty much the whole session, and it was painful. Like, these are the days when it's just painful to be on the charts all day. I'm sure if you guys were on the charts all day, you guys probably said the same thing. This is painful. There's nothing to trade here. There's no action here. There's no clear action. This was painful today. Because market did not need to move today. What? Come on here and tell me. Tell me why the market needs to move here. Why? Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out a little bit. We have now just took in the morning objective. Nothing needs to happen here. Nothing needs to happen here. And I need to peel my eyes open and I need to say that, hey, market really doesn't need to move here. Market doesn't need to move here, so why does market need to move here? These are the days when, hey, if you didn't catch any of this, okay, so what? The market's going to be open at the same time tomorrow. The market's always going to be open tomorrow. The market will always be open tomorrow. Always. I can't tell you a time when I've not woken up and the market hasn't been open. The market will always be open, so don't get bummed out because you took a loss today. Don't get bummed out because you took 2 losses today. Don't get bummed out because you didn't get a 200-point move, a 100-point move. You didn't get the best trade of your life. The market's always going to be open tomorrow. There's always going to be more opportunity. And here, I need to see displacement lower to validate that we want to go lower. Nothing. We almost get displacement through a low, but we don't. We don't get displacement through a low. Waiting. Nothing. There's nothing. Then we come up and we pump and take a high. There is nothing here. There's no opportunity within the PM session. There was nothing. From 1 to 4, you would have been watching paint dry. There was nothing at all. Nothing. I don't see any repeatable trades here. I really don't. And that's okay. The market isn't going to always present you with opportunities. So the moment that I come on here, the moment you that come into the markets and expect to see opportunity when it's not there, is you're just trying to chase something. You're trying to make money. You're trying to pass an eval, whatever it may be. Okay. So that was the action that we had today. Nothing really at all. There was nothing really. I didn't see any possible trades. I saw the possible short on ES to capitalize off this market maker sell model. And then after that, I really didn't see much. Again, the loss that I took was just me not accepting conditions and was me just trying to chase something that really wasn't there. Okay, notice where we're at right now in the charts. If we look on the 4 hour, the higher time frames, We now have an SMT at the highs. We now have displacement lower. Notice how we have all this generated sell side on ES. We have this 4-hour order block. This could be an area in which I expect us to bounce. We kind of are respecting this order block. We also have this imbalance here. So this could be a place where I'm looking to see us hold. If we look in the overnight session, I want to see us hold this area. I really want to see us bounce here. But notice how there really isn't much for us to target on ES. In forms of going higher, we don't really necessarily need to go higher. Where can we possibly look to come back to on ES? Well, it's not the cleanest. I don't know if I would necessarily count this, but we do have this breaker right here. We do have this breaker. We also have equilibrium. We also have OT of this range. This is where I could possibly see us come back into. So this is where I'm looking going to the overnight session. I want to see if ES comes back in OTE. Notice on NQ how we still have all these relative equal highs. We still have all these highs. I'm still bullish on ES. We've now swept internal. I want to see us validate that we do want to run to this high. Notice that we do have an SMC at the highs. ES sold off, so we could possibly see some form of bearish continuation. But I really am bullish. I want to see ES. I want to see us come in, take these highs. Notice how we also have. Notice how we also have. We also have rebalanced in equilibrium of this range. We have rebalanced into this 15-minute imbalance, and we kind of have respected this. I want to see how we open up in the overnight session. Say the overnight session looks something like this. I would guess the draw would be this high. It depends. But notice what also did we leave on this way higher? What did we do all on this way higher? We have left liquidity. 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 There's no prominent low here. It's all just kind of just slow chop up, slow grind up. So we could see us come back down, and we could see the draw being this low, and we also could see the draw being this high on NQ. So we're kind of in a place to where we can do more than one thing. So what does that mean? Maybe step away, maybe not look to take a trade, maybe lower your size. If there's a possibility of us doing more than one thing, then it just isn't high probability. The best setups you're going to get, or when everything looks crystal clear, is when everything aligns. When I sit there and I say, hey, this aligns with this, and then this also looks good here, this also looks good here, that's when we are going to get our best trades, when everything aligns. Right now, not everything looks clear. Nothing looks clear. So don't force it. Don't come in the market and don't force it, because that's when you're going to get messed up. That's when you're going to over risk. That's when you're maybe going to take a trade that you shouldn't have taken. That's when you're going to ruin your conviction. So I just wouldn't suggest. It all depends on how we open tomorrow is how I'm going to look. But let me know, did y'all see anything? Was there anything that y'all might have taken? I really don't think that there was high quality opportunities today. I think that there was possibly that one short on AS, but that's a whole nother discussion. I think that times like this, to when we just don't have the cleanest price action, just sit back, relax, and just know that there will be another day in the future when we have good price action. There's no reason to ruin your conviction, to mess what you've been building, to mess the foundation that you have been building, to mess with the things that you have been doing just to try and make money. Just try to make money. Like every single day that we come to the market, there always is a possibility to make money. There's always a possibility that we can make money every single day. But today is a day when we are not focusing on that. We're not even worried about that. We're not focusing on building money. No, we're focused on building our conviction and focusing on forming good habits that will last you. Come in the market and trying to place a trade here just to take a trade. Oh, a trade looks okay here. A trade looks decent here. No, ideally for you to take a trade, it should look clear in your opinion. It's all about in your opinion, building that conviction in yourself and building that trust in yourself as looking at what could possibly be high quality. You're never going to build that conviction if you never practice it. You're never going to become a better trader if you don't practice the skills of becoming a better trader. It's all pattern recognition. It's all seeing the same thing happen over and over and over again. You're only going to get better the more that you soak it in, the more that you learn, the more that you work for it. It's not going to happen out of nowhere. You're not going to become profitable out of nowhere. Like, this is a time. This takes time. This takes skill. This takes commitment. This takes dedication. This takes doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and looking at the same things over and over and over and over again. So do not ever listen to someone that tells you that you're doing something wrong, or so tells you that. I mean, yes, there can be something, but if you know what you're doing, you're building conviction. If you have someone that you trust and look up to and admire within this space that has good information, if you have a mentor within this game, if you have someone that tells you what to do, just listen to them. I would not recommend you guys listen to me at all. Like these sessions, keep in mind these sessions. I don't care. These sessions, I don't care. You can say anything about me. Oh, he's not profitable yet. Oh, why is he even doing this if he's not profitable? Bro, that is just so ignorant. That's just so ignorant. How do you think I'm ever going to become profitable? How do you think I'm ever going to become a better trader if I don't come back and I don't review the action that we had today? If I just look at the charts and say, hey, yeah, we could have had a possible long here. Oh, I possibly could have longed here. Or if I don't even review the action at all. There's no growth in that. There's not me getting better at that. The real growth comes when you look over the action, when you actually reflect on what you did right or what you did wrong today. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? How can we improve going into the future? What hindered me? What hindered me today? What kind of did I not see today? What could have made today a better day? What could have made today something that I could have seen a little bit clearer? And I do want to see that we did have an SMT at this high. And we did end up selling off. And I need to take account of this SMT in the future. We have an SMT. I don't see much opportunity here. We kind of have this is a mitigation block, I believe. And we have an imbalance. I really don't even see much opportunity to take a short here. The opportunity to take a short was more on ES with that one trade I went over. But again, going in tomorrow, I'm going to have to see how we open tomorrow. I would like the draw to be these highs, but it all depends. We have retraced back into equilibrium. We have retraced back in the 15-minute imbalance. There are things that we can do. We have low resistance liquidity below us. We don't need to necessarily go higher. We have an SMT at the highs. But just look at NQ. Does this not look clean? Does this not look clean to you guys? We have a high. 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 Does this not look clean? I know at some point market's probably going to come back up to here, but it's a matter of when are we going to do that? What has to happen first in order to validate that? What has to happen first? That's our job. What has to happen first? What has to happen first before we take this trade? What has to happen first? Anyways, that's all I really have for tonight's session. I thought today's a good session. Again, these sessions are only going to get better. They're only going to get better. We're only going to become better traders. That's the part of this. Don't expect perfection when you start. Don't expect things to be all set in stone, all put in the right order. Don't expect your life to be put in perfect order when you first start. It's all about the constant improvement. Are you becoming better? Are you showing up the market and are you getting better today? Or are you simply just ruining your conviction? Are you simply doing yourself a disservice by creating bad habits that are just going to hurt you in the long run? Anyways, that's all I have for tonight. Again, if you guys missed out on this, it's always going to be posted on YouTube. If you guys want to rewatch it, it's always going to be posted on YouTube. They're always going to be on YouTube, and I appreciate the support from you guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the live trading session. I'm excited. Today is going to be a good week. What type of news do we have going tomorrow? We have Jolt's jobs opening at 10 a.m. So we have some red folder news. We have a bunch of like little events. I'm not going to be very like cautious of these, but notice that we do have FOMC members speaking. We have an FOMC member speaking at 12:05. That could spark something. This is an orange folder news, so that could spark something. So keep in mind. But anyways,